this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
This is the Gianluca Di Tullio podcast. This is the Gianluca Di Tullio podcast.
This is the Gianluca Di Tullio podcast.
Brace for impact. You just landed on planet Di Tullio. Ha, buckle up.
All right, what's up? What's up, guys? Welcome to the first episode of the podcast. This is episode 1, the Gianluca Di Tullio podcast. Let's get right into it, man. How do you like the sign? I made it myself. I mean, I think it turned out pretty well. I think it turned out really well, actually, considering that I made it in a day. I think the sign turned out pretty well. Logo sick. Everything is sick. And I don't know if this podcast started with an intro or not. We might not have an intro ready, but I planned to film this episode today. So we're filming it today. And you guys are seeing this on Thursday, hopefully, if everything goes according to plan. If you don't know who I am, I'm Gianluca Di Tullio. I mean, I think that kind of gave it away with the title of the podcast, the Gianluca Di Tullio podcast. And I know that that's not really what you're supposed to do when you don't have a big following. You know, don't name your podcast after your own name if nobody knows who you are. Right? That's what they say. That's what they say to do. But you know what? It doesn't matter because we don't care. Gianluca Di Tullio maybe a household name one day, so why not name it the Gianluca Di Tullio podcast, you know? So that's what we did. We named it the Gianluca Di Tullio podcast, and that's what this is. Okay? If you search up, hey dude, how to get started a podcast, the first thing will be like, hey, don't title it your name if you're not a big guy. But do I care? No. We're naming it the Gianluca Di Tullio podcast. That's who I am. You got the Joe Rogan Experience. That's a great podcast. Granted, he's also Joe Rogan, but it doesn't matter, dude. Okay, I don't even know how this setup looks. I tested it out. It probably looks okay, but this is the first episode, and we're just rolling with it. It's definitely going to change as things progress, but this is the setup right now. I think the sign should probably go up there. If you have any suggestions, leave them down below. But the sign, I'm thinking, probably should go up in the corner there or something like that, wherever I'm going to set up the podcast. But for now, it's just like we're just chilling. We're just chilling on the couch, and this is what we're doing. I haven't done this in a while, guys. So it's been a minute since I did my last podcast. If you've been around long enough for that, I haven't thought that far yet, and we're not going to talk about that podcast. I mean, people watched it. It wasn't a bad podcast. It was, I tested it out. I saw, okay, this is cool. I could do a podcast. And that's basically what it was. And I didn't think that far yet. That's literally what the title was. The title was, I haven't thought that far yet. So, anyways, this is now the Gianluca Di Tullio podcast. We're a little bit more professional. We got a sign, a whole setup, new mic, and that's it, man. But yeah, so I want to thank you guys for tuning in, watching the stuff, watching the TikToks. Most of you are definitely from TikTok if you're watching this podcast. Most likely, that's going to be the case. Because I had you guys fill out that survey, and I thank you. 80 responses. We got 80 responses on that survey, which that's crazy. I thought we were going to get maybe 10 responses, but we got 80, which is crazy. And I have people from the UK, the US, Canada, of course, watching, and people from Norway, Sweden, all the way to Germany, India, watching this podcast, or at least filling out the survey, which that is crazy. TikTok is crazy right now. If you're not doing TikTok as a filmmaker or as any creator, you got to jump on that. Because TikTok right now, with the way the algorithm, I can't speak. With the way the algorithm works, it's just crazy right now. You can post something, 50k views. You can post something, million views. And And that's why you just got to keep posting. I started TikTok, I don't know, a while ago. And I wasn't posting like consistently or like with any certain niche, and that kind of messed me up. It messed me up, and obviously like you're not going to gain anything when you're just posting random stuff. So I said, okay, you know what? In January, I'm doing this. I'm going to post consistently like 5 videos a day, something like that. And it's going to be film specific, because why would it not be film specific? That's what I'm trying to grow to be. I'm trying to grow to be a filmmaker, a better filmmaker, a recognized filmmaker. And so that is what I did. I posted consistently for those 3 months or whatever, and it growed, and we're still growing. We're currently at like 6,000 something, 500 or whatever. Amazing followers. Oh, the best followers in the world, of course. Only the best followers follow Gianluca Di Tullio. But yeah, so it's crazy. So if you're a creator and you're wondering where to start, find a niche and post 5 times a day. And that's literally what you have to do. And you don't have to make all those 5 TikToks, whatever it might take long. Just draft. Make like 10 TikToks in a day, and there you go, dude. And there you go. So anyways, I thank you guys for filling out that survey. It's crazy. Based on your stuff, a lot of people want to hear film stuff, movie stuff, which is cool. And my random thoughts, sometimes people want to hear that, which, that's what I want. I want to make this podcast, mainly just me talking about what interests me, which is obviously film and everything, but like also just random stuff that might come to my mind as we're talking. And we could have guests. A lot of you said, sometimes guests would be cool, which I think guests could be cool a lot of times. I want to do guests when it can be in person. I online guests is like, it's never the greatest, but if people are fine with it, they're fine with it. Like a lot of people are doing it now, whatever. It's just kind of more of a hassle to do that, and I'd rather have it in person and everything, but hopefully everything opens up now soon and we can do that. This podcast is probably going to be a short one. A lot of you said you like your podcast around 20 to 30 minutes, so we'll see, depending on the time, what it's going. I think I'm going to shorten this one down. At least probably this one will be around 30 minutes, just to get a feel for what the podcast is. If you want to keep coming back, and if you don't, that's fine. Nothing wrong with it. All the more power to you. You can watch it, whatever. You guys gave me great examples of things to talk about. Thank you. Thank you again. But yeah, so let's talk about me, dude. What I've been up to. Or let's talk about who I am, because a lot of you are from TikTok and whatever, and there's a lot of people that don't know me now. So I'm Gianluca Di Tullio. I am 20 years old now. A lot of people have said, "Wow, you're 20? Like, what do you guys expect? How old do you guys think I am? Like, do you think I'm like 25, 30, like, or do you think I'm like 15? What's the range here? What's the range of my age? What's the age range here?" Speaking of age range, I forgot to ask you guys in the survey what your ages are, because I wanted to know who I'm speaking to. So, just in case I go a little bit more vulgar and start swearing all over the place, I don't want parents coming after me because I got 14-year-olds watching my podcast. But also, you know what? It's my podcast, so I can talk however I want, and I can talk how I want and how I do talk. So that's what's going on. But yeah, so I'm Gianluca Di Tullio. I'm a 20-year-old filmmaker. That's what we're titled. I've done music videos. I've done short films. Working on my feature film right now. And that's what I do. Photography. I do everything, man. I started a clothing brand. It's crazy. It's crazy the amount of things I've done, or at least attempted to do. But yeah, so a little bit about you can probably hear my dog barking. I hope not. I hope you can hear that on the mic. If you can, that's a little bit of trouble. But yeah, so how did I get started in filmmaking? A lot of you asked, you wanted to know how I got started in filmmaking. So for me, Back to the Future is the film that got me into filmmaking. A lot of people ask also on the podcast, what's your favorite film? It's Back to the Future. So if you're watching this, remember it, don't forget it, don't ask it ever again. It's fine, I don't really care. But Back to the Future got me into film. I watched Back to the Future 2 halfway through for the first time. My parents had it on. Said, hey, come watch this. And I said, wow, that's amazing. I don't know. I just thought it was amazing right away. And at that time, like, I grew up, like, I loved movies, so I wanted to be an actor. And I don't know how many times I've told this, but I guess I got to keep telling it. But yeah, so Back to the Future, I wanted to be an actor at that time, so I started making short films so I can start in my own short films. So I just got my iPad, whatever I had, and I started making short films. And then I watched tutorials, like all these things about making short films, and I fell in love with the process of making short films, and making films in general, and just making content, creating visuals, creating stories, everything. So that's what led me into becoming a filmmaker, and what led me to where I am right now. So it's all up to, I devoted to Back to the Future 2, I guess you could say. So Back to the Future 2, so I started making my own films, and then I made a couple of films. This was back when I was like 12 years old, whatever, I started doing this. And then who's we? I come with a crew all the time, guys, wherever I go, so that's why I say we. But yeah, so I went to a high school. I can't talk. It's super hot in this room. Okay, so yeah, I went to a high school that had a film program, which was a 4-year. Why am I acting like I'm talking to college like this is a 4-year? Okay, now I'm in a 4-year college program for film. But I went to a high school which had a film program. It was an art school and a regular school combined. They had their baby child, and this is what they gave. So yeah, went to the high school for film. They had a film program. It was like the only one with a film program, which was pretty cool. So people pushed me to go there, and I was like, I don't know, whatever. You don't need to. I'm talking like the people like when they talk about film school now. So whatever. I went, and that was probably the best thing I ever did. Met great people over there, and just learned about film. And you know what? Going there was the best thing, because now I'm in film school in college, and I'm like, I know half of this. I know most of this. Especially first and second year, like, I knew most of what I was going into. That's because I started at 12 years old and, read books, watched videos, watched movies, did everything. And then I went to a high school that taught you film, which is basically what the first year of college is going to teach you or whatever. It's going to teach you the same exact thing, because they can't teach you anything too advanced, because it has to be basic, right? Because some people are coming in with no knowledge of film at all. Also, a little side note, some of these people that some people are going to be like, hey, are you talking about me now when I say this? But I don't know how some people get into college, dude. I don't know how. Anyways, I'm not gonna touch on that too much on this podcast, but yeah. So that's what started me in filmmaking, and what I've been doing for those past years. I've made short films. I slowed down a little bit a couple times. We all do. Then I picked it back up now, and we're writing a feature film, dude. We're writing a feature film. We're making YouTube videos. We're making TikTok videos, and we're growing. And now we got a podcast. An official Gianluca Di Tullio podcast. And that's crazy. So, yep. It's pretty crazy, man. But yeah, we're working on the feature film right now, which is, I've got a couple pages going. If you've seen my TikToks, it's a thriller horror, / horror. It was going to be what's it called? Enclosed thriller? What's it called? When there's like a contained thriller. It was going to be a contained thriller. I don't think it is anymore. I'm broadening it out a little bit. Okay, if you want to learn one thing about this podcast is, for me, if you want to learn one thing about me, is that I can't speak. I cannot speak the English language ever. So yeah, it's looking pretty good right now. Also, I feel like I've said 50 times already in this podcast. If someone wants to do a counter down below, feel free, because we're gonna ride the train a little bit longer. Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, feature film. You know, I've written a little bit of it. I haven't written as much as I would like to have had done already, but that's okay. You know, COVID is on right now. I don't even know when I'm gonna be able to film this. I really hope I can start filming soon once the draft is done and I get notes and everything and plan everything out. I hope we can start filming back up soon and, you know, begin filming this feature film, and then, you know, have it released soon, which would be cool. So I'm really I'm sorry. There's people like talking in the background downstairs, and I hope you can't hear them because they're bothering me right now, and I've lost my train of thought now. I don't think you guys can hear them, but yeah. So for my film, yeah, I think that's going pretty good. So for in terms of me again, because I just wanna give you guys a little bit of more backstory, you know, because a lot of people, you know, they're new here, which is cool. So, and you'll learn along the way. You'll learn. I hope you guys have been watching my other stuff, and will continue to watch. I'm doing vlogs now. I'm trying to do them consistently. We'll see what happens. I don't know if they'll be consistent, but who knows? You know, since I got my new lens, I can do them easier than I could before, because I only had a 50mm lens, and now I got a 24, so we can vlog properly, and like I'll be in the frame, and I don't have to worry I'm not in the frame. So that's good. But yeah, so if you want a little bit more backstory, so I started doing short films like around 12 years old, and we made a couple short films on YouTube, and they're up there now. They're up there on the YouTubes. My short films. I've got everything up there. I've got my music videos. I've got the Abandoned Dreamers show, which is a show which is kind of like a loose podcast, I like to call it, where I go out and interview creators. So it's more of like kind of like one of those like reality shows, you know, something that you would see on TV if people watch TV still. One of those type of shows, you know, with a whole intro and everything. I wanted it to be one of those, and then I go out to hang out with one creator an episode. We talk to them, what they do, their process and everything, and then, you know, we just have fun, and that's what I planned for that. So we might have a new episode coming out soon, by the way. Also, I've done like 4 episodes of that, I think. That also stopped a little bit because of COVID. You know, it was tough. I want to actually go out and meet these people that are creators. I might do some virtual, but we'll see. That's really just like kind of like a side video thing. And also, if you don't know what the Abandoned Dreamers Club is, yeah, let me just bring it back a little bit. So the Abandoned Dreamers Club also is a clothing brand I started back in around this time last year during the pandemic. I was like, yo, let me just make some clothes. Why not? Let me just try to make some clothes, you know what I mean? And I tried screen printing and a heat press, and you can actually see the heat press behind me. It's right there. The heat press. So I was just like, let's just try it. And so I did like whatever, a clothing brand, and I created it. And, you know, a couple of people bought some stuff. It was cool. I got support for it. And everyone's got a clothing brand nowadays. Obviously, everyone's got one, bro. After you create a clothing brand, everyone has one. And I'm going to say I created it first and then everyone followed because that's just what I think. But obviously, no. It's just everyone has. Okay, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to say it. Okay, everyone copied my idea and just started a clothing brand. I started the first ever clothing brand. Nike, all those other ones, no, they didn't exist. I started the first one, dude. Everyone copied me after. Can you believe that? It's terrible. But yeah, so I'm actually wearing one of the shirts right now that I designed. But yeah, we haven't really made any more shirts in a while, but I've just been focusing on filming and TikToks and getting back to that stuff. But so that's where the Abandoned Dreamers show came out of that. It was like it was like a reboot kind of thing off of the clothing brand that would go with that and like just interview creators, and it was like cool just to get the process and everything like that. So that's what that became. So we have that up on the YouTube. I got my music videos, films that I said. I got like a couple short little skits on there. We got the vlogs, of course, and then we're gonna have this podcast. This podcast will be up on the YouTubes for you to enjoy. So that'll be up there as well. But yeah, so let's see what I got in store for you guys here. Okay, my favorite movies. Okay, let's just answer a little bit of questions here that people have that are going to be recurring, and that are going to be recurring throughout the podcast or my whole life. Favorite movie? Back to the Future. It has been since I was like 13, 12, like I said. Ever since that time, Back to the Future has been my favorite movie of all time, and it hasn't changed. My favorite director is Steven Spielberg. Classic, of course. You gotta go Stevie. No, everyone has their own directors. One time, actually, when I first started at my high school for film, in my film program for film, whatever. When I first started there was this guy who was an older student. And he was like, "Hey, what's your favorite? Who's your favorite director?" And I said Steven Spielberg, because he was also still my favorite director back then. Hasn't changed. Am I afraid of change? No. So yeah, I said Spielberg. Spielberg's my favorite, and he goes, "Yeah, but Spielberg's everyone's favorite. Who's your real favorite?" I said, "What the fuck are you talking about, dude?" No, I get what he's saying. It's everyone's favorite. I mean, he is the most successful American. Why am I twitching? I don't have COVID. Yeah, so, I mean, he is the most successful American filmmaker ever. So, I mean, everyone knows him. So, like, when you go, "Hey, yeah, he's my favorite, yeah." People are like, "Oh, did you just get into film? Is he the only director you know?" But no, dude, he's not. Okay, I know all the other directors. No, I know all the other directors. Just Spielberg is so nostalgic to me, and I think he's very underrated. Just in general, people just think like whatever he makes these blockbuster films, whatever, like he hasn't made a good film in a long time, whatever, people say the things. But I think he's really underrated. Are we doing an overrated, underrated over here? Steven Spielberg, underrated. I think he's very underrated. Because, I mean, just in terms of the way he, like, uses his actors and his camera together, and especially his blocking, I think he's one of the best directors for blocking out there. That's why I like Steven Spielberg, so that's always just connected with me, and I've used that in my own films as well, and just, I think he's amazing at working with his actors, blocking and everything, and just it all ties in together in one whole film that like everyone can enjoy. You can watch Steven Spielberg as a kid all the way till the oldest person ever. Of course, maybe you don't want young kids watching Schindler's List or something like that, but yeah, he's got the films for the kids as well. So what should we do, guys? What should we do as the closing little thing here? I'm gonna close out the podcast here. What should we do as the letter? Should we do like a letterbox review of the week? Okay, let me give you my review for one of my last films that I watched. This whole week I haven't been watching a lot, to be honest. I've been binge watching It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia on Disney Plus because I found out it's on Disney Plus. So if you got Disney Plus, go ahead and watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So I've been binge watching that. I've seen it before, the most of the episodes, but now I'm just starting from the beginning and going through. So on May 3rd, the last film I watched was Brick, the Rian Johnson film. If you haven't seen it, I think it is amazing. I saw it. This was a rewatch. I had movie night with the boys. If you're watching this, I'm talking about you. Love you guys. Yeah, so Rian Johnson, I believe it's his first film, or one of them. One of his early films. I'm pretty sure it's his first. 2005 Brick, starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Dude, I can't speak. I hope this is not going to be like this for the whole podcast or the whole rest of my career doing these podcasts. Yeah, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I gave it a 4 out of 5. 4.5 out of 5 actually on Letterboxd. So take that with what you will, I guess. Most of my Letterboxd reviews are just for fun and, how enjoyable the film was to me. And, I don't really go too technical with it, like everybody else. I ain't trying to be a critic. Most of us filmmakers, we don't really like the critics, so I'm not a critic. I'm not a film critic. I don't call myself that, Don't call me a film critic if you see me on the street, guys. But Brick, it's a detective story. I like the mystery aspect of it. I like that whole thing, and I like how it just plays out in high school, but they talk like they're in like a 1950s noir film, detective film. I think that's very interesting. So that's my Letterboxd review of the week. And that's it, man. I think I'm going to wrap up this podcast. I know it was a short one. I'm still working out on figuring out how I can make podcasts longer. If you want the podcast to be longer, let me know down in the comments below. Also, my Mac is about to die right now, so this is probably a good time to end the podcast as well. But, yeah, let me know if you guys want the podcast longer. Let me know if you want any other, things in the podcast segments. I know you guys filled out the survey. I took a look. So today I'm doing a Letterboxd film review of the week. So that was it. But yeah, if you have any other suggestions, comment it down below. If you have any other things, and don't forget to subscribe, follow, like, comment, and do anything you can, man. Comment on this video and tell me your favorite part of this podcast or something you learned from this podcast about me. I don't know. Something cool. Whatever. Comment whatever you want. But anyways, guys, I will see you on the next podcast. Peace.